I'm revealing my top contenders for the Country Music Hall of Fame's Modern Era category. And coming up on this episode of Across the Country with Amanda, I'll tell you who I predict will be the 2025 inductee. In a previous episode, I talked about the Country Music Hall of Fame and how it works, and you can go back and find that one for a more in-depth overview. I also talk about my picks for the Veterans category in that episode, but we are all about the Modern category. And this category is for an artist who first achieved national prominence 20 years ago. With the Hall of Fame inducting only one person per category each year, I have a very long list of artists who I think are worthy of the honor. In recent years, John Anderson, Patti Loveless, Keith Whitley, Marty Stewart, Alan Jackson, Brooks and Dunn, Garth Brooks, Vince Gill, Reba, George Strait, and many others have been elected to this category. And I think in the next few years, you're going to see Clint Black and Travis Tritt go in. They are a part of the famed class of 1989, and Alan Jackson and Garth, they're already in, and the others will without a doubt go into for shaping country music into what it is today. When I think of underrated artists who received their big commercial breaks in the 80s, there are two artists that come to mind. The first is Steve Wariner. He has 37 top 20 hits as a performer, and then you got to think about all of those great songs he's written. All those #1 hits for Clint Black and Garth Brooks. And Steve Wariner, he is a triple threat singer, songwriter, and certified guitar player. And I would love to see him go into the Hall of Fame. Roseanne Cash, she also deserves a spot. You cannot deny her influence on future generations of artists. She's had 19 top 20 hits, including 11 #1s. And she had this huge commercial impact while still being this ultra creative artist, unlike no one else in country music. And her artistry continues to evolve. Right now, there's a new exhibit at the Country Music Hall of Fame exploring her career. That is something you definitely got to check out. But Roseanne Cash, definitely another pick for the modern day category. The 90s in country music gave us so many artists who went on to become international superstars. And really, this is just a matter of when. There's no doubt in my mind that all of these artists, they will be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame at some point. Artists like Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, Shania Twain, Martina McBride, Kenny Chesney, The Chicks, Keith Urban, and Brad Paisley. What made the 90s such a pivotal time in country music is that there was room for all types of artists. There were so many unique artists that combined artistic and commercial appeal. Acts like Trisha Yearwood, Mary Chapin Carpenter, Pam Tillis, Kathy Mattea, Lori Morgan, Alison Krauss, and Wynonna. And yes, Wynonna, she was inducted for her work as one half of the Judds, but her solo work should not be overlooked. And when it comes to making albums, the women of country, they surpass their male counterparts. When you go back and look at country music history at this time, you'll notice that a lot of the male artists, they were releasing albums maybe every year, every other year, while the females, it took a little bit longer. However, the females were giving us more quality work. I feel like it's really stood the test of time, and they're the ones that I tend to maybe go back and listen to more often. It was definitely a case of quality over quantity. And another factor with all of those fantastic women I just mentioned, all of them, they took control of their career. After they moved on from the major labels, they took control of their music. They're still releasing fantastic music today, and all of them, they can sell out shows like no other, and I think that says a lot about their longevity. So we've seen 90s country make a resurgence, and there was this stretch between 1991 and 1995 where we saw a major crop of new acts that really musically defined that time in country music. And those superstars, they definitely influenced today's artists. I'm talking about people like Tracy Lawrence, Mark Chestnut, Joe Diffie, John Michael Montgomery, Diamond Rio, Terry Clark, all major hit makers and all responsible for some of the most iconic songs and best-selling albums from the 90s. I just mentioned about 20 artists that I would love to see go into the Hall of Fame, but with the Hall of Fame picking only one artist per category each year, that is a major backlog. And if you think about it, artists like Carrie Underwood, Miranda Lambert, Taylor Swift, they're all going to be eligible for the Hall of Fame within the next year or two. So I know I would definitely love to see the Hall of Fame kind of increase how many members they induct every year. Definitely just a lot of artists who deserve to be honored for their work. But my pick for who I want to see go into the Country Music Hall of Fame this year, well, it's a trailblazer who took country music to a whole new level in the 80s. His style blends his roots with a honky-tonk flair, and he became the first country act with a video to be played on MTV, and he was known for bringing a new audience to the format. Of course, I am talking about Dwight Yoakam. He is innovative and one of the biggest record sellers in country music. Dwight Yoakam was one of those recognizable names that you would see in the late night TV shows. He performed on Saturday Night Live, which actually made him only the second country singer during the 90s to be on that show. Dwight's got his own radio show on Sirius XM. He just released a fantastic new album. He's got a new song out with Post Malone. He never chased trends, and he continues to evolve with his music. And what you get with him is something absolutely original. And Dwight Yoakam, he is my pick for the 2025 Modern Era category for the Country Music Hall of Fame. We're going to find out in the early spring of 2025 who this year's inductees will be. And if you want to hear my picks for the Veterans category, which that recognizes artists who achieved success at least 45 years ago, you can find that on my channel. And I'll be spotlighting another category, the non-performer. That's coming up in a future episode, so please subscribe so you'll be the first to know about it. And don't forget, you can catch me each week on my syndicated radio show Across the Country with Amanda. Find it on a station near you. And I want to thank you for joining me today, and I will see you in a future episode.